Good morning. It is the last day of November. How are you feeling?
Really?
How are you feeling about that?
I honestly did not know that it was until you said that. But I did realize that tomorrow was the first.
Tomorrow's December.
That's so weird. It's kind of sad that this year's almost over.
Christmas is coming. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm totally ready.
Do you have all your gifts bought?
No, but I have many of them bought and most of them wrapped.
Okay, good.
We're not putting up the Christmas tree, though, till Grandma gets here. She comes in, that's Thomas's mom, comes in on Friday very, very late. So I think we're going to do the Christmas tree either Saturday evening or Sunday after church.
Yep. It is also the last day of hurricane season. So that is a cause for us to rejoice here in Florida.
Yeah.
What else you got going on this week? What's been going on?
Lots of family has been in town, and then we had some of our very favorite people in the world. The Beasleys were here to visit us, and I got lots of Lucy snuggles, and it was fabulous. And they left last night, so I'm a little sad about that, but I'm also trying to just focus on the fact that I'm so happy they came.
Yeah.
And then your mom's coming in tomorrow, so we just have a lot going on, but
A lot of guests right now.
Things are great.
That'll run us up right
company.
to Christmas, pretty much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But, okay. So we have a marriage challenge we're doing. December starts tomorrow. We have our 31 Days to a Better Marriage challenge.
I'm really looking forward to that. I would like a better marriage.
Me too. So if you will go through with the challenge, then we'll have a better marriage.
Why don't you go
think it
through
really
the
only
challenge?
takes one person, so you can go through with it.
No, because I can't wait to do these little things for you, and I can't wait to see what you do for me.
And so you have to be a part of our Facebook group. So go on over to our Facebook group, and literally you can hop in anytime in December. So don't think, oh, if I miss day one, then I can't jump in. You can jump in 2 weeks in, and it'll still benefit your marriage because you're doing things to focus in on your partner instead of focusing in on yourselves.
Yeah, and even 15 days to a better marriage is something.
1 day to a better marriage is better than nothing.
It's better than nothing.
So jump into the challenge for 1 day, but that's over in our Facebook group.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get this going because no matter how busy the season is, and it's a busy season right now with friends and family and company and all kinds of stuff, we still have to take showers.
Yes, we do.
We still have to smell good.
We do.
So we need to get into this episode.
That way.
Some of you need this more than others. You know who you are.
Gather round, everybody. It's time for a family meeting. The Family Meeting is a show that's all about family relationships. We're the Osterkamps. I'm Thomas. This is my wife, Smelly.
Hello and welcome to our family. Welcome to episode 114 of the Family Meeting podcast. On today's episode, we're going to get dirty and stinky.
I think you're already there.
Thomas prepared for this episode.
By not taking a shower this morning.
I took a shower this morning.
You only did it because we were having this episode.
I went for a run and I got really sweaty. I had to take a shower. I had no choice.
You just didn't want me to give you a hard time on the episode. Is that true?
That is not true.
You thought about it.
I really needed a shower. Well, I was trying to think, I don't know.
Everything that I did hygienic-wise this week, I told Lysandra, I'm doing this for the podcast. Brush my teeth for the podcast. Take
Nothing's
a shower
for me.
the podcast. Put on deodorant. Well, I do that every day.
So this week you brushed your teeth, and this week you wore deodorant, and this week you showered. It's been a real treat.
Secret is out.
From now on, every single episode of the Family Meeting podcast will be about personal hygiene. Okay, listen, we are talking personal hygiene. We're talking about how it can affect your marriage. And you may feel like, I know exactly where this episode is going. I assure you, you don't. You don't know where this is going because there's more than one way to look at this topic. And we've heard more than one perspective on this issue, and we're going to share both of the perspectives with you.
Now, before we get into today's episode, I want to let all the listeners know today is the last day of November. And that means tomorrow we start our 31 Days to a Better Marriage challenge.
I can't wait for a better marriage.
I need a better marriage, and so Lysandra's going to take the challenge.
You're going to take it too, buddy.
But you need to head over to our Facebook group, and get involved in that. And we're going to kick off the challenge tomorrow morning. And every single day we'll make a post in the group about the challenge. And I think it'll be a fun time. It'll be one of those things because a lot of times during Christmas, I mean, really all year, but during Christmas, we can tend to focus in on ourselves. And so we want to flip that around this holiday season and spend some time focusing in on our spouse. And I don't know exactly when you're going to be listening to this episode. You may not be listening today. When you listen to this, December may have already started. Listen, jump into the challenge. I don't care if it's December 30th. Mm-hmm. Jump into the challenge. Spend 2 days working on your marriage.
Yeah, because as we told our YouTube viewers before we started this podcast, recording this podcast, even 1 day to a better marriage is better than 0 days to a better marriage. So whether it's day 15 or day 20 or whatever, jump in and take a little time to focus on your marriage. I think that you will both be pleased with it.
Well, and the post will still be there, right? So you can jump back and do all the challenges.
It could be January's 31 days to a better marriage, if you wanted it to be.
But with today's episode, getting back to what we're talking about.
Yes.
We really have to tell you how we chose this episode topic.
Do we want to do that?
I do.
Okay.
Sometimes it's conversations we have with other people or people send in their episode ideas. This came straight from an interaction that Lysandra and I had.
This came from our terrible marriage.
From Wednesday morning. Yeah, take the challenge.
Me?
Yeah.
You take the challenge. I'll take the challenge if you take the challenge.
No deal.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead, honey.
You're throwing us off.
I'm throwing us off this week. I don't know. I'm feeling feisty, I guess. Okay, go ahead.
But it's Wednesday morning, and Lysandra is down in our chair. We have a big oversized chair with an ottoman that we sit in. That's kind of our place in the living room.
It's our spot.
So we can be nice and close to each other. And she's already down here, and I come down and I sit next to her. I think you were actually on my side that day.
Yes, I sat on your side.
So I had to sit on your side.
Because I needed the plug-in for my computer. I was working on my computer.
I had to sit on your side. Actually, you were probably working on podcast stuff.
I was working on podcast stuff.
And you lean over to, I can't remember if you were trying to kiss me or what you were trying to do.
I think I gave you a kiss.
And the smell from your mouth was horrible.
Explain what it smelled like, please.
It smelled like dog poop coffee.
Coffee, though. Coffee. Thomas does not
like
with
dog
coffee.
Poop in it.
Well, coffee breath is bad. Like, coffee smells good, but coffee on someone's breath smells bad. Okay? So for all of you coffee drinkers, you need to know that. Like, just because coffee smells good, it doesn't smell good on your breath, and it did not smell good on mine. So, and I had brushed my teeth that morning when I got out of bed. I did all the good hygiene things that you're supposed to do. And then I sat down, worked on the podcast, drank my coffee, and then gave you a kiss.
And your plan worked well because it was a nice repellent.
Perfect.
I stayed away from you for at least 5 minutes.
Yeah. But do you remember what I said back to you after you told me that my breath smelled like I was drinking coffee from a butt crack? That is exactly.
Oh yeah, that's right. That is what I said.
That was his exact words. It smells like you've been drinking coffee from a butt crack.
Yeah.
So I don't recommend that in your marriage.
That's super funny.
That's Thomas's humor. That is also kind of our banter. You may not have that kind of a relationship with your spouse. It's probably good if you don't have that kind of relationship with your spouse. But unfortunately, that is ours. So, do you remember what I said back to you?
I do not. I didn't even remember fully what I said.
Nothing gets in your ears and stays there. Okay. When you said that horrible thing to me,
which was appropriate and accurate.
Appropriate is questionable. Accurate is true. I said to you, well, just so you know, last night when we were getting intimate and you wanted to be intimate with me.
Oh, that's right.
Your breath smelled terrible. And I pushed that out of my mind and powered through. So I was like, right back at you. And that was the moment we were both like, this should be a podcast.
Exactly.
Because if we talk about issues like this in our marriage, most likely you're having the same issues. And we are, as you can see, a completely open book. We are totally transparent. There are things you know about us that you wish you didn't know about us. But that's okay. We're willing to use them to try to help your marriage because we're trying to help our marriage too. We're trying to work on this thing, right?
And it needs a lot of work.
It does. So this episode comes to you because Thomas and I are gross.
Yeah, we are. Both of us, by the way.
Both of us.
I know all of you are assuming it's just Lysandra.
Wow.
But from time to time, I'm gross also.
That is opposite. But it's not only that we're gross, but we've had many conversations with married couples over the years about hygiene creating friction in their marriage. And I know what everybody's thinking. Like, this is going to be an episode where we are telling everybody, take a shower, brush your teeth. Okay, we are saying that. But there's another side to this conversation that probably most of you would not think about. So this is where we're going to give you a little spin.
I know I didn't think about it.
Just for one moment, okay? One couple had an issue because the husband refused to touch the wife unless she had taken a shower. He was very, very OCD about like showering. And like
That's
what?
insane to me.
Is that blowing your mind?
It is blowing my mind.
Okay. I'll tell you after the episode where this comes from, but
you could probably never take a shower again. That would not stop me from touching you.
that is so gross. You should have some standards. Ugh. Okay. So, but you can see that there's two extremes. But this couple, for them, with that whole showering thing, there would be like no spontaneous intimacy at all.
You can say
ever.
sex, by the way.
Yeah, I know, but intimacy of any kind, like even cuddling, like he didn't want to touch her. So intimacy is the right word this time. Bam. So you can see like it can be extreme the other way too.
Yeah.
That's not probably most of your problems. So we're not going to focus on that. But either way, this can create like a chasm between two spouses. And this whole showering before I'm going to touch you or you get near me can be interpreted as a couple of things. I don't think you're clean ever. You gross me out. You're never good enough. You always stink. You know, I think that's what I would feel like if it were me.
Now, if you do always stink, take a shower. Wear deodorant.
Yeah, right. And that's probably more so what people in their marriages deal with is people who are legit unclean or should be taking better care of themselves. But remember, hygiene is more than just showering, brushing teeth. It's also like taking care of unwanted hair. It's like there's so much more to it. Fingernails.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and I really appreciate when Thomas, shaves out his ears. It's very nice.
Yeah.
He takes really good care of
I never had to
his...
think about that. Now I do.
Yep. Nose hair, ear hair. You got to think about that, gents.
Yeah.
And maybe ladies. I don't know.
Yeah.
Depending on what you're dealing with.
But, and BO is one of those things that really bothers me.
Oh my. Yes. It's terrible.
So being a youth pastor for so long, we would often take our teenagers on trips. And literally the passport to get into the van, they had to show me their stick of deodorant.
Yep.
You are not getting in the van without a stick of deodorant. Mm-hmm. And even my kids now, I tell them, you better wear deodorant every day because if I smell you, I'm calling you out. I don't care where we're at or what's going on. I'm calling you out. So wear deodorant.
This seems like a good time to tell how my father taught me to wear deodorant as a teenager, a young teenager.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I've told my girls this story as well. My dad was super hyper about like BO as well. He hated that. And I was coming into adolescence and just for the first time having to understand like you have to wear deodorant every day. I was a very young teen, maybe 11, maybe 10, 11. And he said to me, we were out somewhere and I had forgotten my deodorant. And he said, if you forget your deodorant one more time, I'm going to take your deodorant and I'm going to tie it on a string and you will wear your deodorant for a week around your neck to church, to all of your like social events, anything, time with friends, family, you will be wearing that deodorant around your neck. Do you understand me? And I was like, yes, sir. And I am telling you, I never forgot my deodorant because my dad was the kind of person who would follow through on that threat. It was not an empty threat. So that was a good thing that taught me to wear my deodorant. And now I never miss.
You do not. And I'm just one of those things like that's because that's a thing for me. Like you will never smell my BO ever.
No, I never have. Not once in my life. We've been married for 19 and a half years. Been together for like 26. And I've never smelled BO on you.
I'm very active also.
Yeah, very active, but you take care of yourself.
I do.
I feel like this is like a
in
high
that
five
in
moment.
that area, I take care of myself.
Good job, baby. In the armpit area.
Yep.
All right. So moving on. Now people have heard way too many of our personal stories.
Oh, we've got some more coming because I saved some secret conversations and secret illustrations for later on in the episode.
Ooh, I can't
just
wait.
to surprise you.
Okay.
But we do know this is a challenge many marriages face. And part of it is you get so comfortable with somebody. Mm-hmm. Because when you're first dating, think about when we were first dating. Man, you wanted to make sure every hair was in place. Mm-hmm. Everything looked great. Deodorant on. I would wear cologne, like all this stuff. And that's not always the case now. Actually, It is mostly the case as far as the deodorant and stuff. But the hair and the whatever and the when I take a shower, like those things vary. But we get comfortable with each other. So we don't necessarily take care of ourselves like we did at the beginning. But there's secular articles about this. And this one was quite interesting. It's from a life advice column. And it says, Dear Annie. So they're writing to Annie. I have been married to my husband for 10 years. And we've been together for 12 years. I love this guy. But his hygiene is atrocious.
Ooh.
I admit that he was like this before we married, but I thought I could change this habit, okay? She says, my mistake. Mm-hmm. And that is a mistake.
Yeah.
If you go into marriage thinking you're going to change somebody, that ain't going to happen. Mm-hmm. They'll change on their own, sometimes for the better, sometimes not for the better. But if there's something you don't like, you better have the conversation before you get married.
We have a whole podcast episode on Can You Change Your Spouse?
And what number is that?
Don't know.
Oh, okay. 114 episodes in. It's hard to keep track.
It is.
But the article continues. We've had endless discussions about this, and he always says he'll get better. He seems to be worse than ever.
Men.
We just got back from visiting my children, and he has not shaved for over a month.
Ugh.
It's disgusting. We aren't intimate. Lysandra's choice of word.
No, that's what the it's the article.
I know, I'm teasing.
Okay.
He has issues with impotence, but I refuse to kiss him goodnight with a beard that has food, sneezing, and coughing in it.
Oh, this is making me want to throw up.
He actually looks worse than a homeless person. So I've got.
You're better than this dude.
Yeah, better than that.
Whoever this dude is.
I'm at my wit's end. I don't want to divorce him, but I can't stand this anymore. He only showers maybe once a week.
No.
And has gone up to 3 weeks without a shower.
Oh, no. No.
He's a nice guy in other ways. Don't know what to do. It's very disrespectful to the world and me. And then she closes with at wit's end.
Wow.
What's your advice? What do you tell this lady?
I can't tell her anything. I'm grossed out. It's not pleasant.
I think we're going to take this dude challenge, and I'm going to not shave for a month.
No.
And just let food and sneezes and coughs just go in there, and then
No. And I know
see what we can do about it.
Some women love a big, full, manly beard, and some men take very good care of their beards. Hats off to you. Great job. I'm not a beard person. I like Thomas's stubble, but
I am also not a beard person, so
I take care of my beard. You take care of yours.
Yes.
It seems fair. But you don't like stubble on me, and I like stubble on you, so that's where we differ.
Big difference.
So we're gonna see what Annie writes back, because this is Annie's column. It's kind of like the old Dear Abby. This is not a biblical response because it's a secular column, but this is how serious a problem it can be. Because in the question you hear divorce and kind of talked about, and even in the response, it's kind of alluded to, like, are you going to put up with this, basically? And so in secular circles, like, and if you look out there, you'll see, like, some people are talking, I'm going to divorce my spouse over this.
Yeah. Well, people get divorced for a lot less than
yes, they do.
You smell and you've got food and snot and everything else in your beard.
We have to stop talking about that. Okay. Dear At Wit's End, I'm not sure how you have tolerated this poor hygiene for as long as you have, but it sounds like it's getting worse and you have to have an intervention with him. It's clearly affecting your relationship. You could try to approach the conversation playfully and suggest that you shower together.
Nice.
Or that if he washes his beard or shaves it off, you will kiss him goodnight. Poor hygiene could be a sign of a more serious mental health issue. We're going to talk about that later in the episode. Or a personality disorder. If he doesn't respond to your conversation, it sounds like you need marriage counseling.
Yes, I agree with that.
I agree with that. Impotence is not an excuse for lack of intimacy. Reassure him you don't want a divorce, but you want to help him feel better about himself. If he refuses marriage counseling, then try to persuade him to seek professional help for himself. So I don't think that that's actually terrible advice or anything. There's nothing biblical in there. No principles from scripture were used at all, but it is good if you have gone back and forth about any topic and you cannot reach a conclusion, then you need to get counseling. I definitely agree with that.
I do too. And guys, there's one thing I learned from Annie's response. And I want to pass this on to you, and this is something you guys need to do. And that is refuse to take a shower until your wife invites you to shower with her.
Okay. I didn't get that from the response.
That's literally what she said. That's after she said that, I didn't hear anything else.
Oh, great. Okay.
But this is a relationship difficulty that comes up again and again on advice columns and internet forums. What do you do when you're married, but your spouse's bad hygiene is pushing you away? What do you do? Let's look at the Bible for a moment here. And while we don't find this specific problem addressed, we do find principles that can be applied to help with this. So I think about this woman's issue with her husband. And maybe your issue isn't as severe as what she's dealing with. But there can still be problems and still be issues. Ephesians 4:15 says this, rather speaking the truth in love, we are to grow up in every way into him who is the head, into Christ. And we've talked before about communication and the right time to have a conversation and using the right words and tone, and you're not attacking and you're not berating and belittling, you're not nagging, but having a sincere conversation with this. Like you are, what you're doing, how you're choosing to live is affecting our relationship together. And think about Matthew 19, verses 5 and 6. It says this, have you not read that he who created them from the beginning made them male and female? And said, therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let not man separate it. And so once again, it's not just about you. You say, well, I don't really feel like shaving, or I don't feel like this or that. It's not about you anymore. You're married. So what you do or what you don't do, it affects your spouse. And so we need to have a more selfless approach to our personal hygiene, because you may not care whether or not your beard grows out or whatever else the issue is. But if it bothers your wife, it's truly a conversation to have.
Yeah, and even going beyond showering or brushing teeth or whatever. I know that for us, like we talk to each other about how we prefer each other to look. So like I'll ask Thomas, do you like it better when my hair is up? Do you like it better when my hair is down? Do you think I wear too much makeup? Do you wish that I would lose weight? Do you wish that I would gain weight? Never that. Like things like that though. It's just like appearance, like what appearance is pleasing to you, because it's not just about me. Obviously we need to feel good about ourselves and be able to, be comfortable in our own skin, but it's about one another. And I know that if it were up to you, you would shave less. Am I correct on that?
Yes, I would shave less for sure.
I do not like him to go past 7 days without shaving, because I like the stubble, but I don't like it when it gets long.
And I would also dress down more than I do.
Yeah, which is not appealing to me.
The only place I go out in like sweatpants is to the gym, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, because sweatpants are unbelievably unattractive to me. I'm like, bleh. So he wears nice jeans and stuff.
And I don't wear my old t-shirts anymore.
Oh, I hated those old t-shirts. I can't believe we got married.
You hid them for a while.
I did. I hid them in the attic.
And then I found them, and I'm like,
My
okay,
t-shirts.
I've been betrayed.
They had holes covering them. Not just like, oh, one hole. No. They were barely hanging onto your skin. It was like Swiss cheese. He was covered with Swiss cheese, people.
It's so you could see more of my body.
Yes, and that was unappealing. I'm sorry.
If you thought that was unappealing, wait till you see it now.
Okay.
But it's not just about even just, like we said, taking a shower. It's about how you present yourself when you're around your spouse or when you're out and about together, because you reflect on each other. Mm-hmm. You are one flesh now. So you have, there's a lot more to consider than just how you feel today, what you feel like doing or don't doing. You have this other person. And that's why we're saying, hey, jump in on this marriage challenge.
Yeah.
Okay, stop focusing in on yourself and spend a month just focusing in on your spouse and see how your marriage relationship improves.
Right. Okay, so getting back to this whole gross hygiene person. Okay, I know if I'm married...
Like snot in his beard and...
Stop. You have to stop talking about that. I can't with that.
Don't you throw up on my microphone.
I will. You and it'll be your fault. All right, so I know that if I'm married to a man who has like a questionable shower schedule, the unbrushed teeth, dirty clothes, unkempt hair... I know that it's not a reason to divorce him. I get that. Like, one flesh, we stay together. But does it mean that I have to suck it up and say nothing and just accept this part of him? In my opinion, yes and no. How's that for helpful?
That's very helpful.
Good.
Explain what you mean.
Okay. So yes, we have to accept our spouse the way they are, right? We cannot change our spouse. We must accept their flaws, faults, and failures. And I know I want Thomas to accept my flaws and failures and my mistakes.
You don't have any, so...
Yes. You fully know that I do. And you accept me in spite of those things. So we have to accept our spouse, but that doesn't mean lying. It doesn't mean we can lie about these things or faking our feelings or opinions. We need to be honest with them about how their faults or failures or mistakes or lack of hygiene are affecting us. How is this affecting me? So I do accept you. Like, I'm not going to threaten to divorce you because of your hygiene, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I accept who you are and I love you no matter what, but I'm going to tell you the truth about how it affects me. This is a good way to do it because, speaking the truth in love.
Yes.
This is a way to lovingly speak those hard things.
Okay.
You're so attractive to me. But your unbrushed teeth are making it difficult for me to be intimate with you. Would you please brush your teeth twice a day? And when I say intimate, I'm not talking just about sex, but although that does affect it.
Okay.
But I'm talking like coming up and kissing when I'm doing dishes or whatever it may be. Like just being close, like I'm talking close in the vicinity of the same person. It's really hard to be close to someone who doesn't brush their teeth, right?
Yeah, if you're going to be like popping that personal bubble space.
Right. And I think about our children. Like, when they're little, I physically brushed their teeth every night before they went to bed, and I physically brushed their teeth when they woke up.
Would you do that for me?
Absolutely not. Actually, yeah, I totally would. I shouldn't have to do that for you, but I would if I needed to.
Let's try it the next week. See how that goes.
I don't want to. We have to talk about your complaining jar. That reminds me too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But anyway, so when our kids got to the age where like I was no longer going to hold the toothbrush and shove it in their mouth and brush their teeth, I was training them now to take over that for themselves. It was quite a struggle. I mean, it was like, oh, you haven't brushed your teeth yet, have you? Okay, go brush your teeth and then you come and be close to mommy. Because it was like dragon breath in the morning, right? So we should be able to learn from that with our spouse too. Okay, so here's another way that you can bring it up in the truth and love. As you are talking to them about things that you're wishing they would do better in this area of hygiene, you can come back with this. Is there anything I can do to make being intimate with me easier for you? Like, it would be easier for me to be intimate with you if you brushed your teeth. What can I do to make it easier for you? What would be the answer?
Nothing.
That's because you're a disgusting man.
Well, maybe don't drink coffee out of somebody's butt crack, but...
Ew. So basically, even though you're not going to get divorced over this, this is not, I don't believe that you're okay to like just go and leave your spouse because of this. these are real issues. Okay. This is a real issue in your marriage, and that's okay. Like the problem with your spouse's hygiene, it's valid. It's worth addressing. However, do it in a loving way, do it in the right way. And if you cannot come to a resolution, then go get counseling. One friend said that she was praying, change my sense of smell rather than changing his smell. Let his smell become pleasant to me. And I thought that was a really beautiful, selfless way to look at this. If you have a spouse who doesn't really take care of that smell, to say, Lord, help me come to love this smell.
That is a nice thought, but I pray nobody ever comes to love that smell.
Yeah, because the other thing is you still are going to go out in public with that person, and other people are probably going to smell them.
Yeah.
Something to think about. But still very selfless.
But you have to have the type of relationship where you can talk about stuff and have conversations. Mm-hmm. And there's times where Lysandra tells me, like, you know what? You need to go wash your hair. Like, your hair smells right now.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you're outside, like, playing volleyball with the girls or something.
And so, or we're around a campfire or whatever.
Yeah, like, that smoky smell.
That you just don't like. But we have an open communication where she can say that to me, where I can make jokes about her coffee breath, and she's not mad. Now, I wouldn't say that in front of other people who aren't in this family.
You would say it on a podcast to who knows how many listeners.
I would, but they're not in the room with us.
So that's okay.
It's okay. But we've had other episodes on that type of communication. But you should be able to have conversations about it. Mm-hmm. You should be able to talk about it in a loving way. Speak the truth in love, as Ephesians said. But poor hygiene can make that closeness less frequent in a marriage. And it can be so serious that it can impact the level of connection and love felt between a couple. I mean, if it's so strong that you literally have a hard time getting close to somebody, that's going to affect your relationship. Mm-hmm. And there's been times in the past, because of Lysandra's health, that we've not been able to have the closeness when she had back issues and stuff. And it was literally, I didn't try to touch her at all because she was in so much pain. And that affected our closeness. Mm-hmm. And so if your hygiene is putting up a barrier between you and your spouse, you're affecting that closeness that you have with one another. And your personal hygiene is now, it's a team issue, mm-hmm. right?
Right.
You two are one flesh. And if your flesh is nasty, then you're making your spouse nasty too. If you care about your husband or your wife, then you will care about how your personal hygiene affects them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because personal hygiene is not personal. It becomes...
Yeah, when it becomes public, that's a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
When your personal hygiene becomes public hygiene, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That is a quote.
And yes, it can become really difficult to talk about this because you don't want to hurt the person you love the most in the world. And you don't want to say anything that might embarrass them, hurt their feelings, or whatever. Now, in our marriage, clearly that's not the case. You can say just about anything, and it won't hurt my feelings, and I'll just laugh at him or whatever. But sometimes it's a sensitive issue. But if you truly love them, you will talk about the thing that's creating distance from them. Because I love you enough, I want us to be close, so I've got to talk about this thing that's taking away the closeness. And if their bad habits are affecting you, it's worth speaking up. Addressing this subject is one way that we really show our love for our spouse. We show them also that we want to help them become a better version of themselves. And of course, then we can create a more intimate relationship. And that's worth it. That's worth having the hard conversation.
It definitely is. And we've gone a step further from, hey, you can openly talk to me about this, to we tell each other, if there's something, I want you to warn me. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to go out to church and have rank breath.
Right.
And you know it, but you don't tell me.
No. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-mm.
So it's about that type as well, because I want to represent Lysandra as best as I possibly can. That's not great because I'm me, but as best as I can, right?
You're trying. God bless you.
But taking care of your hygiene is a way you show respect and love towards your spouse. And when you look at it from this perspective, then it's a topic that should be discussed because it's a relationship issue, not solely a personal one. You know, when you bring it up, think about timing. Don't say something in front of a friend or family, and probably not in the middle of sex.
Right.
Having these conversations, as comfortable as they may be, is actually a sign of a healthy relationship. Strong relationships should be able to withstand this kind of honest feedback and communication. Notice this, when handled correctly.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah. So I'm not just going to be like, in the middle of a Christmas party at our house, be like, man, Thomas, you're disgusting. Your breath stinks and your hair looks like trash. You know, that's not the way to do it, right? But you can say something kind first. Like another example is, I love how good you smell when you get out of the shower, but I noticed you haven't really been doing that a whole lot lately. Is something going on? Maybe you notice that they do brush their teeth. Okay. Wow. I love that minty breath. Come over here and give me a big kiss. So that's that positive reinforcement, and it's a great way to try to help. So you don't maybe necessarily have to say something negative. Maybe what you could do is magnify the positive, like rewarding good behavior.
Yeah. Going back to this dog training thing that you've done to me.
Yes, exactly.
Tell them how you've trained me about shaving.
Well, usually when you shave, then I'll like give you a little massage on your face and like rub your cheeks and stuff. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then just show him like a little bit of love. And Thomas's main love language is touch. So if he's shaved his stubble off, then I reward him for his good behavior. But it makes you want to shave your stubble when it gets too long.
Barely. I just hate shaving. But
I know you do. I don't know why that's like the thing you hate. It's funny.
But changes. So maybe you notice a change in your partner's hygiene, and that could be tied to a mental health struggle. So I struggle with depression, and from my personal experience, there's times where I literally don't want to do anything because of it. Mm-hmm. Like I don't want to get dressed up. I don't want to change. I don't want to do anything.
Sometimes if it's really bad, you don't want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
You do, but you don't want to.
Right. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I'm doing the bare minimum of what I need to do to get through the situation I'm dealing with. And so that means there are times where my personal hygiene can take a hit if I'm not paying attention to it and Lysandra's not sensitive to it. And so that's also one of the things that we've talked about. Hey, I need your help in this area. During these certain times, I may struggle. So I'm going to need help, encouragement, made aware of the situation. And so maybe there's somebody who's at the opposite end of the spectrum that is like, I don't want to shower, I don't want to shave, I don't want to do anything, I don't want to change clothes. They might be on the opposite end where they're overly preoccupied with cleanliness and showering. Mm-hmm. And so you could have people on both ends of the spectrum that drive somebody absolutely insane. Either way.
Mm-hmm. And both of those may be something where like somebody needs to go see a counselor, whether it's the depression or the obsessive. Yes. Yeah. But if you notice a change in your partner's approach to their personal hygiene, and it's maybe even accompanied by like a lack of motivation to engage in other activities or social withdrawal, you could help your partner get in touch with a counselor who understands that side of mental health. So somebody who is a professional, someone who fully specializes in mental health and how it can affect your life. Really.
And I had a relative who they went through some stuff in life, some mental health issues, and they wouldn't shave, they wouldn't do anything. You couldn't hardly get them to leave the house.
It was severe.
For a long, long time, we didn't see them at all.
Years, right?
Yeah, and I remember seeing them for the first time after that, just very unkept, but at least they had worked it up to come out of the house. Mm-hmm. But once they went and got some medication and got some help, I mean, they were back to the same old person that we had grown up with, that we knew we loved, and were taking care of themselves again. Mm-hmm. So it might be a sign that there's something underlying thing, even if it's not severe, some underlying thing that's happening that may need to be dealt with.
Yeah, and you can approach it gently. You can say something like, you really don't seem like you're yourself lately. I wonder if maybe talking to somebody would help. Would you consider talking with somebody? I'll go with you. I'll take you. What can I do to help?
And you may get through to your spouse more effectively if you explain how their poor hygiene is affecting your sex drive. So if you tell your husband that his smelly hair or breath is decreasing your physical attraction to him and making it difficult to have sex, he may be more motivated to brush those teeth, wash that hair, take that shower. And the opposite side might be true as well. Because we tend to, because of society, look at, well, men are the only ones who want sex and this and that. But that's
and
not
men are the
necessarily
only
case.
ones who are gross and don't take showers, but that's not necessarily the case either.
So both sides are true. There may be a personal hygiene issue for ladies that, hey, if you would just take care of this, whether that's washing, shaving, doing whatever you need to do, that would help me, in this area as well.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty good motivation, I would think, to take care of yourself, because I want my partner to be attracted to me and want to have sex with me.
Yeah, and maybe a conversation if you've not had, hey, listen, how do you want me to take care of myself in these different areas?
Yeah, it's a really good conversation to have. But poor hygiene can prevent your spouse from enjoying sex to its fullest potential as well. So not just not wanting to have sex, but even being able to enjoy it.
So going back to that night.
Yes.
Since you let everybody know that went on.
Night.
Lysandra was not able to enjoy that experience as much as she would if she didn't have to think about the smell of my hair.
It was your breath that night.
That night.
But
sometimes it is my hair. But that's the kind of thing we're talking about, though.
Yeah. Right.
If you got to think about all the things, like, man, your armpits are horrible.
Yeah, I gotta stay away from.
I'm gonna power through.
Yeah. That's rough. That's tough stuff. But I mean, it can become distracting or even uncomfortable. And none of us want the word uncomfortable to be associated with our sexual encounters with our spouse, right? Uncomfortable is not the right word. Facial hair that's ungroomed. So sometimes that would be a problem because
other body hair that's not groomed.
Yeah. Unbrushed teeth, general body odor, fingernails, and toenails.
That have sharp edges.
Yeah. All of a sudden, my calf just got scratched by your toenail. We're done here. Good night.
Try again tomorrow, but go trim those toenails.
Yeah, exactly. Or unwashed personal areas, okay? This stuff can really prevent a good sexual experience for your spouse, so make sure you're taking care of yourself. Please, please, please.
Yeah, definitely. You'll both enjoy things a lot better.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to talk about it. And this brings us to our family meeting idea.
And that is just have the conversation. Allow your spouse to be honest about what is negatively affecting them about your hygiene. Maybe it is your coffee breath. Maybe it's body odor. Maybe it's the long toenails. Please cut those toenails, seriously. Mm-hmm. But we have given you an opportunity right now. You listen to the podcast, every time we're going to have a family meeting discussion.
Right.
So, hey, you can let them know. This was what the podcast was about. They said this is the family meeting we need to have. So it's not you.
It's coming up organically because this was something talked about in your life already.
Yes.
You're welcome, everybody.
So just have that and remember, you want to be appropriate for your relationship. The way that Lysandra and I interact with each other may not be the right way for you to interact with your spouse. You may have to be more sensitive about certain things. Mm-hmm. You may have to be a lot more tactful. But you need to be able to have the conversation. So that's what we're encouraging you to do with your family meeting tonight.
Thank you guys for joining us. Please go and subscribe to the Family Meeting podcast from your favorite podcast provider. And if you found this information to be helpful, please share this episode on social media and invite your friends and family to listen in with you.
To find more content and information Lysandra and I provide, you can go to our website, familymeeting.org, or shoot us an email at info@familymeeting.org, or text or call us at 904 257-3062.
Now, we will not answer that phone, will we?
No. You can leave a text or a voicemail.
So somebody thought it was so funny that at the end of the podcast, you say, you can call us, because you have told people repeatedly, very openly, that you do not take phone calls and you hate being called on the phone. And I was like, oh yeah, it's not either. You're not going to call Thomas. You're calling a voicemail.
Yes. So they can leave a voicemail, ask a question, tell us their story. We can play it on a podcast episode and
that'd be fun.
Answer their question or let other people hear their suggestions.
Yeah, I love that idea. So yeah, give the recording a call.
And please go hop into our Facebook group. Join the December challenge to work on your marriage.
I think it's going to be really good. I think it'll be good for us. I'm excited for it. And we want to invite you to join us for our next family meeting as we talk about giving your children the permission to dream. How can we encourage our children rather than always pushing the harsh reality into their faces? How can we give them that permission to take those dreams?
One of us will have an easier time with this podcast episode than the other one of us.
I wonder if they will know who is who.
One of us is a fun killer and a dream smasher.
And the other one is a visionary and dreamer.
Yes.
I wonder who's who.
I don't know.
We'll find out next week.
Thanks for joining us today for this family meeting. Have a great week, everybody. This meeting is adjourned. Boom.
Yeah, baby.
Another one down.
Ooh, put your arm down.
Ooh, sorry about that. Forgot deodorant today.
No,
yeah,
you
right.
didn't. You never forget
deodorant.
deodorant.
Deodorant and cologne. Even when I'm going to the gym, I put cologne on to go to the gym to work out.
Yeah, is that for the other women who are there, or?
No, it's just if I leave the house, if I know I'm going to see another human being, I put on deodorant and cologne.
Yeah. I appreciate that about you.
Yeah. Now, if I spray cologne up top, up on my hair, you know. What's that mean? Hello? Is my partner here?
I don't want to say.
Why?
That's his cue that it's time to get it on.
Let's get it on.
Oh my goodness.
So-
I know I'm red right now.
So even with personal hygiene things, you can send a signal. Send a signal.
Yes, and that's when your partner runs.
Yep. Take a shower. Take a shower, get cleaned up, and then pop that personal bubble. Right?
Sure. All right. Have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye.
We'll see you next time.